Hey everyone, this is Stefan from Lush and Salty Aquariums. You're looking at my new Brine Shrimp Hatchery. I got this thing from Asia, overseas, shipped. It's made by a company called Ziss Aqua, Z-I-S-S Aqua. It is not available from any of the retailers in the United States, and that included, at the time I checked, even Amazon. So I had seen a video for this lovely machine on YouTube, and I figured out where I could get it and took a chance. There you go, that's a nice look at it without all that sun flare, but you can see the light blasting in there, and then the rosy orange color of these eggs, which are hatching. I'm gonna let it go a little bit longer, but anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, Ziss Aqua. So this device, I don't know, $50 give or take, plus shipping. So around $70, maybe at the top high end of what I paid, but it's pretty sweet, and it's bigger than the previous sort of DIY one I was utilizing. That one worked fine, but this one gives me bigger yields, and it's just kind of a neater device, easier to clean. It has a hole that you could put the any old heater. That's an extra one I have, not very attractive one, but it's good for that. And I still use the light because I believe light triggers the hatching mechanism for all the eggs. They need light, not just for heat, which is obviously not necessary anymore, but somehow it triggers the hatching response. Otherwise the eggs would stay in their cysts. So the Ziss Aqua Brine Shrimp Hatchery has this nifty handle. I don't know, it holds about at least maybe a half gallon, 3/4 of a gallon. I use salt water from my saltwater tank, which makes it easy peasy. It's got this neat stand, and then under here, a really cool little twisty. You just kind of twist that black knob there, and then out from that tube comes pure baby brine shrimp. One dilemma, you can see it already, those are unhatched eggs or egg shells, and I don't like getting any of those in with the live, because then they get into when I'm feeding, and I don't like my fish eating that material. It's a drag. However, I do think with a longer hatch period and creating some stirring, I have been able to clear that detritus at the bottom, and then it floats to the top. I take the bubbler out, and I'm getting a more pure brine shrimp delivery system down there. Another way to do it is just take the top off and use a turkey baster, and when it all attracts to the light, you just pull it out. So it's not perfect, and probably for the average aquarist who only has 1 or 2 tanks, not even necessary. But I've got a whole bunch of tanks, plus I'm just into it. I wanted to try new things, and so I've got this, and I'm more happy with it than not. It's really easy to clean, and it looks a bit nicer in general. In the spirit of live foods, this is another excellent source of live food for all of your fish. These are Daphnia, and I have numerous cultures growing outside in buckets. Basically a big bucket with green water and an air stone, and you're good, because they can tolerate a pretty wide range of temperature. And I find that summer here in Northern California is a better climate for them. I'd rather err on the side of warmer than colder, even though these creatures can tolerate very cold water, and I've actually had a culture sustain all through the winter, but in small quantities. This is one group that I pulled from my most active culture outside. I just took this little beaker, filled it with the water from the bucket, and then ran my net through the bucket and grabbed hundreds of these, and this will basically cover feeding one dinner feeding for 7 or 8 tanks. The Daphnia are in all different sizes. You see adults, even adults carrying eggs, like that one right there that has a white spot. It's in the center frame. That's actually carrying some eggs. And then you see every size in between down to minuscule. So from endlers to tetras to even fry, can you just turkey baste a group of them and shoot them right in, and everybody's happy. Plus, it's super kind of fun and satisfying to raise these guys. They're a whole other thing, and they don't require a lot of effort, and it's just another neat creature that you can raise with materials on hand at not a lot of cost, and there's satisfaction to it. Plus, like more than even brine shrimp, if you put these in a tank and they don't get eaten, they can literally stay in there and reproduce in your tank, especially if you have a carpeting plant like Monte Carlo, which I do. I have found Daphnia, when I trim the Monte Carlo, in droves down within the plant stems and leaves. And so I know my fish are able to pick those off, and they're reproducing in the tank, and that's really awesome too. Finally, I always keep a bunch of snails. These are mostly ram's horn and some bladder snails, because I do have pea puffers, and while I don't like having too many snails in any given tank, it's inevitable, so I end up just grabbing some of these with my fingers or a net, or using a trap, which I've talked about in previous videos, and I keep them in a little beaker with some green water and dying leaves. I keep this on top of an aquarium glass so the temperature's a little bit warmer, and I could do that with these. In the winter I do that. I don't do that now, and obviously the brine shrimp have multiple sources for heat and light. So those are 3 different kinds of live food that are a no-brainer. Well, I won't say a no-brainer. They require some effort, and you can totally make grievous mistakes if you don't do at least what I told you to do in this video. But given how simple it really is, I don't see a big problem with it. And once you acquire your brine shrimp eggs anywhere, you're good to go with a system not unlike this. With Daphnia, you're not going to really have an opportunity to catch your own, so go online, buy a culture for 10 bucks. The guy will send you a bag, and you can start something in a bucket outside, and before too long you'll be able to have a whole supply for the rest of the foreseeable future. And snails, well, everybody knows about snails. Once you have them, you have them. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this little quasi-tutorial, and I've got some feeding to do, so ciao for now.